welcome to the show tonight. It's been a while. Happy New Year and all that goodness. It's West Coast Wolf, your humble host. But tonight we're going to have a special guest tonight. Tonight we're going to have a guest that you haven't heard from before. It's going to be our co-host for tonight. It'll be Miss MC Unity, and she's going to talk about the building blocks to rebuilding the black family. And that's a very important topic for tonight, family. We need to really focus on our people, and she's going to show us how we can start that process and get that going. So without further ado, I'm going to open the mic for Miss MC Unity. Miss MC Unity, take it away.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Happy New Year, and I want to thank you, West Coast Wolf, for inviting me to co-host this show on this very important topic.
Okay.
And I just want to say Happy New Year to you and everyone who's out there listening, and I hope everyone has a prosperous new year. So let's just jump right into it. If you guys would like to take notes, that would be awesome. I'd like to have a lot of feedback towards the end of the show, have some questions and answers. And if you have some questions for me, that'd be great. Jot those down as well so that at the end of the show you can ask away. And I want to get right into it. So first of all, I want to define what I call the black family. Basically, I consider the black family the black race. And so that doesn't necessarily pertain to nationality, meaning whatever nation you're from, because there are several black nations. But we are focusing particularly on black Americans, but it's not exclusive to the African American people, native-born Americans. If there are other people of the black race that are from different countries that are here in America that would like to assimilate, we'd love to have you. I believe in unity among our people. So what I call the black family, again, my definition of it is basically the black race, and that encompasses more beyond the United States, beyond these walls. But where I believe we need to begin, number one, is with ourselves. I believe we need to respect ourselves. So step one in rebuilding the black family is to have self-respect. There is a lot of action and activity that happens amongst our people and within our families and those that are close to us that is due to, first of all, lack of self-respect. There are many reasons, excuses, valid or not, things that have happened to us that have caused us to sometimes lose our self-esteem, our self-worth, our value. And when we devalue ourselves, you lose respect for yourself, and then it's much easier to lash out and have a lack of respect for other people. So step one, having respect, I think is extremely important. If you respect yourself and you carry yourself in such a way that shows that you have self-respect, then you also demand that others respect you. If you respect yourself, you won't allow yourself to be treated certain ways, in disrespectful ways by other people. And once people see that you don't respect yourself, it's easier for them not to respect you as well. So that's kind of a twofold thing. Respecting yourself, I think, is very important, and which is why I say it's first and foremost when it comes to rebuilding the black family, because it all starts with you, right? How you treat others is a reflection of how you feel about yourself, and the treatment that you accept from others is also a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So, a lot of things, like I said, valid, invalid excuses, or just misfortunes, being victims, different things have happened to a lot of us that have eroded our self-esteem and ultimately maybe our self-respect. So how do you get that back? There are several ways, healthy ways, everything from counseling to, self-affirmations, which is probably the least expensive way. And self-affirmations are easy to find if you can't, make them up on your own. You can easily Google self-affirmations, and you can pick out, you can narrow the search down to particular things, like if you need to be positive. And this is it crosses a variety of different topics that you can get affirmations about. But if you want to say self-affirmations as it relates to self-esteem, you can literally just type that in. Or you can do self-affirmations as it relates to your business if you're a business owner, just positive things that you can say to yourself. And so affirmations are things basically that you can repeat to yourself every single day. You can post them in places around your house. You can have a certain time of day or night or several times throughout the day that you see them and you just say them. And it kind of goes along with the school of thought that sort of says, fake it till you make it, where you're just saying these things even if you don't necessarily believe them. But what comes out of your mouth, you hear it, it goes back and it feeds your spirit. And eventually, if you say them enough, repetition, there's a lot to be said about repetition. You can learn a lot, and you can ultimately begin to believe it just by simple repetition. So saying certain affirmations over and over and over again about who you want to be, who you think you deserve to be, who you should be. By constantly saying those things to yourself, you begin to believe it. When you begin to believe it, you begin to act on it. So that's step one, basically, respecting yourself. Learn to respect yourself. And once you do, again, you'll carry yourself in a certain way, you'll act a certain way, and you won't accept disrespectful treatment towards you from anyone else. Now, once you respect yourself, you also respect others. Treat people how you want to be treated. That's obviously very important. It's kind of what we call the golden rule. A lot of people say it, we don't necessarily practice it. You really have to think whether it's a child, no matter old or young, from the child to the elderly person and everybody in between, treat people and respect them how you want to be treated. When it comes to possession, material things, if it's food even, you live in a household and someone else bought something and put it in the refrigerator. If you didn't buy it, don't touch it unless you ask them. Respect them enough to ask if it's okay for you to have it, even if it's your child or your spouse. I mean, you guys may have a different rule. Anything in the refrigerator goes is up for grabs. As long as that's an understanding and no one feels disrespected by, you eating what they put in the refrigerator. Something as simple as that. All the way up to a stranger on the street. Showing respect for them might be, opening the door for them or letting someone go cut in front of you if you're walking two different directions on the street and you end up at the same place at the same time or something. I mean, just general, courteous type of things, showing respect. And then in return, generally, especially strangers, will respect you, as well. If you're met with someone who's disrespectful towards you, not accepting it doesn't mean necessarily to treat them back the way they're treating you. Or if somebody, say, curses at you, doesn't mean turn around and cuss them back out, because that's going to just continue to go on down that same negative. Basically, just stop talking to them and walk away, or say, I don't talk to people who can't speak to me in an appropriate manner. I don't speak like that. I don't accept or have conversations with people who don't know how to talk to me in a respectful manner, period, and shut it down, rather than, again, engaging in the continual or same similar type of conversation, which leads, to negativity and ultimately nowhere. Okay, so that leads us to step 2, which is communication. So number 1 is respect. Number 2 is communicate. And like I said, I already did a segue kind of into the communication part of it, showing others how you want to be spoken to, again, from the child, to your spouse or your mate, to your parents, to the people on the job. Communicate in a positive and a professional manner, and if it's home, not necessarily a professional manner, but in a respectful manner. Please and thank you should be normal words of your vocabulary. And, of course, all this is based on my opinion, but this is what I believe we as a family of people need to have and build upon so that we have a strong Black family. And, again, it starts in the home. So backing up to communicating, specifically ways to communicate, say, with your spouse or with your mate and with your children. Again, saying things like please and thank you are instrumental, and it shows that you respect them. It shows that you value them. It shows that you appreciate them, which is step number 3, appreciation. Even if I'm supposed to do it because I'm your wife or I'm supposed to do it because I'm your mother, or you're supposed to do this because you're my husband and, or you're my child, or you're supposed to do it because I said so. Just because we're supposed to doesn't mean we have to. We still have a choice. We may have the role, we may have the title of a spouse, of a parent, of a son or a daughter, and with those titles, we know that there are certain spoken and unspoken, quote-unquote, rules and expectations, and things that we feel as people in these relationships we are supposed to do. But again, it's a choice, and we don't have to. And because we have a choice, we can choose not to, and often we will choose not to if we don't feel appreciated. So, to have strong families, there needs to be good communication, there needs to be healthy and respectful communication, and there needs to be appreciation. Your children need to feel like you appreciate them just as much as you want to feel like they appreciate you. We're going about our day-to-day. We're doing what we're supposed to do to take care of our family. We're doing what we're supposed to do to keep our grades up. We're doing what we're supposed to do. But when we don't, or even if we do and we're constantly doing it, but we don't feel like it's appreciated by the people we're doing it for, even if we're doing it for ourselves, like, for example, you're a child and you know that going to school and getting good grades, that's for your own benefit. That's not necessarily helping your parents. But you still, as a child, want to feel some type of appreciation, and that's why often parents will implement reward systems, and they'll give things like allowances or, certain perks if you get certain grades as incentives to do well. Showing appreciation goes a long way, and it helps people who are doing what they're supposed to do to want to do it and to want to continue to do the right thing and to continue to be pleasing to their mate or their parent or their, children. And children show appreciation oftentimes, especially the younger they are, by just hugs, kisses, drawing little cards, little notes for their parents saying how much they love them, or little things like that. Parents really relish and appreciate that, and that kind of thing makes you want to do so much more for your kids. So there's varying levels depending on what age you are and what the relationship is. There's different ways you can show appreciation that doesn't always include money. And that goes, the same for spousal relationships, or relationships where you're mates. You're in a relationship with another person and you're trying to build a family together. You don't want the other person to feel like you're taking them for granted. No one ever wants to feel like they're taken advantage of or they're being taken for granted. The easiest way to do that is to show appreciation. To eliminate that is to show appreciation. And oftentimes appreciation is more than just saying thank you, although thank you goes a long way, and some people don't say it because, again, they feel like, well, why should I thank you for doing what you're supposed to do? If the chores around the house are kind of divided such that the women do the cooking, and this is the traditional role, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily right or how it should be. I'm just giving an example. Is this makeup in your household where the woman does the cooking, the man takes out the garbage, and he keeps the car full with gas, and he washes the cars, he does the lawn, outside work, whatever your family structure and so-called duties, responsibilities to run the household are. When the person does it, and they do it over and over again, it is still nice to hear thank you. It's still nice to hear compliments about the job they've done. Oh, wow, my car really looks good today. Thank you, honey. Or I didn't even realize I was low on gas. Thank you for filling it up for me. Thank you for remembering to take out the garbage. Just complimenting them and thanking them for what they do, even though that's a task they've taken on, a responsibility that they've said, or have taken on as their, quote, chore as a part of the household. And then the same thing, if the woman's doing the cooking, taking care of the kids or whatever, ooh, this really tastes good tonight. Oh, I appreciate you cooking. I appreciate you cleaning the kitchen all the time. Or whatever it is, I realize you're tired. You've been working all day too, whatever don't do the dishes tonight. Maybe I can help. And the same thing, the women, maybe I'll, if he's working late or whatever, you took out the trash for him or whatever before he got home. Just being kind to one another, being helpful, and then, but ultimately and most importantly, appreciating what people are doing to keep your household running smoothly. And then hopefully everybody is contributing as well. Now, there are some family structures, very few at least, left in California that I'm aware of, where only one person is working, where there's enough of an income to live off of one, single salary. That's rare, but it still does exist. If your quote-unquote job is to stay home and take care of the kids, whether you're male or female, because I do know some roles where the women are the ones, or the quote-unquote breadwinners, and they're out working, and the men are staying home, and they're taking care of the kids. That contribution is huge. Regardless if it's financial or not, it's still a very big job. It's still a very important job. It's important enough that you've set up your family structure in such a way that only one person has to work. You've sacrificed and decided you're going to live, at a certain means, in a certain environment, a certain income level, or a place where it may not be in as nice of a place as you could live if both of you were working, but your family was important enough to you, or more important to you, because you felt like it was important to have a person stay at home with the kids, because you felt like they could be better raised if they had a parent at home with them. Being able to take them to school every day, pick them up from school every day, help them with their homework, go on field trips, volunteer at the schools, do all the things that stay-at-home parents, can do. That is a luxury nowadays, in my opinion. It's not like the days of old where that used to be considered, staying at home was not necessarily a good thing, and women were looked at as, this is all you can do, all you are as a housewife, because they really couldn't work. And it was looked at as, they were looked down upon. Now, as we see what has happened to our kids in the last couple of generations, since that changed and women have gotten into the workforce in a big way, we've seen what's happened with our children and how the streets are now raising them, and how the violence has gone up, and how gangs have now become the families, because there's no family at home, because people are working and don't have time to spend at home with their kids and really raise them the way they used to. And so now we realize now that's considered a luxury to be able to do that, but we're in an economy, unfortunately, that doesn't allow for us to kind of go back to that. So that's been a really hard thing, and sometimes now a really hard choice to make, to live below your means, so to speak, and stay home if you can, or homeschool your children. That's even becoming an option because our school systems have, gotten so much worse. So homeschooling is now another option. But regardless, my point is, whatever your, quote, job or your duties are in the home and outside of the home, basically to make your immediate family structure work, show appreciation for whatever the people are doing in it to contribute, whether it's the children doing the right thing, being good, doing their chores at home, keeping their grades up, whatever their responsibilities are. Show appreciation for them. They show appreciation for you, and you show appreciation for your mates, for everything and anything that they're doing to try and keep your family a functioning, positive household and keeping your family together. So these are the type of things that not only strengthen the Black family in the household, but I believe it spills over into our communities. And so that leads to the next step 4, which is opening up your heart. So I believe that encompasses now, outside of your home as well, to your extended family members. And I think it's really important to show appreciation for them, like, say, your in-laws. You're an adult now, you have your own family, but you have you still have your parents around and your siblings or whatever. So now they become your extended family, but you get together for holidays, or they help you with, picking up the kids sometime, or they could come and support if you have kids that are in sports. They go to their games. Just different ways that extended family members contribute to the well-being of your child, because I'm of the mindset that it does take a village, and the more people that are involved in your children's lives, the better off they are. That village mentality to where they feel like they're supported not only by the people in their immediate household, but also by an extended circle of friends and family. We'll include friends in this part too. Close friends are like family. So when you have other people outside of your immediate household that are being helpful to your family in any kind of way, show appreciation towards them too. Because again, and now these are people who don't have to. These are people who don't, well, nobody has to, but people who aren't supposed to necessarily do anything. But if they care enough and they're loving enough, then be loving back to them as well. And, you know, on as side notes to this open your heart, I say open your heart bigger than your mouth or your wallet. And what I mean by that, opening your heart bigger than your mouth means truly love people. Don't just say it. Don't just do lip service, I love you. You know, even when it comes to your mate and your children or whatever, saying I love you, really mean it. And you know, there was a song a long time ago, and I don't know who it was by, but it was something like, the words were something like, what if there were no words? What if those 3 words did not exist? How would I know that you love me? And maybe this has to do with the fact that I'm from St. Louis, which is the show me state, but I'm real big on showing more than telling, real big on proving, you know, myself and having other people prove to me what they say. Like they say, some people say, put your money where your mouth is or whatever. I'm not saying it in the financials. No, don't put your money where your mouth is. Put your actions. You know, treat me a certain way. Talk to me a certain way. Respect me a certain way. Be kind. Give. You know, from your heart, show me that you love me. Don't just say it. And I do the same. You know, or I do it first or whatever. Opening up your heart also means be vulnerable. Be okay, you know, to being hurt. That's the only way you're going to really, truly love. If you're not willing to be vulnerable and open up your heart and have your heart really be accessible to being hurt, you're not really loving. And I know that many of us have been hurt, probably all of us, if you're beyond a certain age at some point or another. But you never know how far you can go until you've gone too far. And each person is different. And so even if you've been hurt before by someone, it doesn't mean that the next person is going to do the same thing. What you do is learn the lessons. You learn the personality types. You see where you went wrong in the relationship, what your part was, because it takes 2 in everything, good or bad, whatever the situation is, it takes 2, you know, that played a part in it. Whatever made it good took 2, whatever made it bad took 2. So be real with yourself, you know, if you're dealing with hurt, and find out where you went wrong, what it was that you could have done better, should have done, and be determined not to do the next time. So, but love again, be open, because you're never going to really experience happiness and true love if you don't. If you're closed off, if you block your heart, if you let somebody who's probably never going to ever be a part of your life again, who hurt you, who has moved on and they're long gone and probably enjoying their lives with someone else, why would you let them stop you from enjoying yours for the rest of your life? Because you can't get over them, or you can't get over the hurt, or you feel like you can't trust anyone else because someone else who's gone has hurt you. That's not being fair to yourself. To find a way to really just, you know, open your heart and be vulnerable. You get hurt, and I'm not saying that it's a small thing, because it's not, and I do understand, you know, if you really love somebody and they really hurt you, it really hurts. If you love hard, you fall hard, but you get back up again. And you're not going to, if you're not vulnerable and open to finding true love and loving again, you're going to live with hurt and pain like the rest of your life, and hurting people hurt people. And there's no reason that you should be, you know, living in pain. It just doesn't, you know, so allow someone else to come in and don't blame the next person or suspect the next person for something that the previous person who hurt you did. It's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. And you don't want to teach, you know, that mistrust, and we have a lot of that, unfortunately, in our families. And in, you know, I say families, I mean our relationships as Black people. There's a lot of mistrust. There's a lot of stereotypes that have been put on us, but also we believe about ourselves. And yes, some of it is deserved, these stereotypes, but it's not true for everybody in every case. And we shouldn't, like they say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. We shouldn't judge all men, by what happened by one or two or even three. Or you shouldn't judge all black men or all black women because of how this one or this one did and that one treated you, or because you heard about what these black girls did to this person or these men. Like the experiences of a few, unfortunately, have really tainted our mindset and ideologies about the whole. And it's just not true. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to you, to yourself. We are a very, very resilient people. We are we can be very progressive people. Unfortunately, we've become not so proactive and progressive, but we've become more reactive and responsive and retaliate, after things are done to us, rather than being progressive and forward thinking and creating. And that part, I think is very systemic. There's a lot, of course, that has happened to us that is undeniable when it comes to things like institutionalized racism. When it comes to the whole feminist movement and the anti-black man movement, whatever we want to call them, those are some very real things, and it has caused some very real problems and some very real divides between amongst us. But we are smart, and we should be bigger than that and better than that, and realize that it's not true for everybody, and we should not allow them. And when I say them, I'm meaning those are oppressors and the media, those who control the environment and control, for the most part, what we think and how we think because of the images they show us and the things they tell us and the things they allow to be seen about us as a people in mainstream, on mainstream media. We should be smart enough to know that that's all game and that that's all more systemic oppression, and that it's causing us to be divided amongst ourselves as a people. And it has worked, unfortunately, really well. There has been a lot of awakening, I feel, in the recent years. A lot of more people are becoming more conscious. I think as much as the media has done us a disservice, I think to its credit, it has done some good in that, at least technology anyway, and allowing us to be able to videotape and film a lot of the mishaps, and unlawful and downright criminal things that are happening against Black people unfairly. And so that's been publicized on mainstream media, mainly, the social media, because of people recording such things on their cell phones. And so we have been reacting to those types of things and protesting and doing certain things, reactive to the wrongdoings against us. But it has and because it's been so widespread and so much of it, many more people, I think, are waking up and becoming conscious and realizing that, okay, this isn't just an isolated incident. Okay, this isn't just happening down here in the South. It seems to be they're finally realizing it is systemic. It is something that is very, it's a bigger agenda to criminalize and keep down Black people in this country, period, point blank. So we need to capitalize on that, I believe, on the new consciousness, the new awareness or whatever. I mean, it's not necessarily new, especially, for a lot of people who've lived long enough, who've already known, but the younger people are now becoming aware and waking up and becoming somewhat conscious of it. We need to capitalize on that and learn how to hone that anger and that retaliation and the protesting that they're doing and the looting and stuff that they're doing. Channel that energy into positivity. Channel that into creating thriving communities instead of tearing up the communities. And so that brings me to our next step. When we open our hearts and allow, people, allow ourselves to trust, each other again, allow ourselves to love, and allow ourselves to appreciate people outside of our immediate family, that builds just more love amongst our people. When we have trust among each other, and when we realize we can trust each other, first of all, you have to be trustworthy, right? Have integrity. But I think that comes with the respect. If you have a strong foundation at home that's built on respect, communication, and appreciation, you have a sense of integrity. And if you have integrity, you're trustworthy, for the most part. And so when people see that, when they can see your character, that you have a strong sense of self-worth, you have a strong sense of caring for one another and respect for others and appreciation for others, it makes you much more likable, approachable, lovable, trusting, and people want to be around you, want to be around that, positive type of environment, and it makes them want to be that way too. So when you have a strong sense of who you are and you're a good person, you have a good character, and then you have a strong family, then other families want to be like your family. You should be examples, and you should realize that you are role models in your community. You are something to aspire to, and that spreads. That can spread just as fast and wide as the negativity that spreads fast and wide, that has spread fast and wide. With the debauchery, like I saw one of the posts on your website, Sean, where it showed, I guess, years ago when women were in business suits and wanted, respect, and talked about how do we go from wanting to be respectful and, prosperous to showing our bodies and where, they're wearing next to nothing out in public, and where that's now like highlighted. That type of lack of self-respect is what I call it, is now looked at, I don't know, as something good somehow. Well, that's negativity that spread and fast, and social media is a big proponent of that. Rap music is a huge proponent of that, I believe. But we had, back in the day, conscious rap, and that spread as well really fast. But the powers that be, I will straight say this is a straight media move, or a straight, institutionalized racism move, where the people that control the media, for the most part, did not want to see that type of unity and positivity spread throughout the Black community. So they would no longer give you record deals unless you were cussing and putting down women and, had the type of negative stuff that's extremely popular now, calling each other out of their names and highlighting violence and drugs and gang activity and all of that stuff, became popular because they paid for it. And money was the big carrot that was dangled in front of everybody's faces, that if you make music like this, if you talk about this, if you show women with no, little or no clothes on in your videos, then we'll give you thousands and thousands of dollars. And, of course, the young rappers were like, oh, okay, we can do that. And it became a fast-spreading movement because of the money being dangled. Well, we need to have an alternative, I feel, to offer our kids. We need to really show, like I said, build on the consciousness that has started with our younger generation, and seeing what's happened, what's happening with all the murder, wrongful killings and what's, going on that's being recorded, and how there's no penalty or repercussion for it. And show just how, we need to capitalize on that and show just how, rap music is playing a big part of that as well. It's the same thing. Again, not all rap, but the rap that is, and it's quite clear what type of rap I'm talking about when you're highlighting and glorifying killing each other and sleeping with, 8 different people and having different babies' mamas and all of that kind of stuff that has deteriorated and eroded the black family structure, and made the senselessness and the whatever it is right now look like that's the way to go and be glorified. Well, in reality, we know that that's not. We know that that's why our children are the way they are. We know that, everybody wants to glorify a gang until they lose a family member to gang violence, right? We know, I believe in us enough to know that that there is truly a sense of right and wrong still left in us, in our fiber, and no one wants to have their family murdered, right, by, another black person, white person, cop, or anybody else, anybody that you truly love. You don't want to see them killed wrongfully, period, by anybody. So at the end of the day, realize what it is that you're, and own up to what it is that we are doing as a race of people that's causing that same thing to happen. There are more black people murdered by the hands of other black people than there are cops. It's too much on either side. Neither one is right. I am of the mindset that it's more wrong when it's blue murdering black wrongfully, because those people get paid to protect and serve us. Those people took an oath to serve and not just kill us in cold blood wrongfully. So I do think that it's worse when it happens at the hand of police officers wrongfully, but at the same time, it's still very bad, and it should be very unacceptable when we do it to each other. It's, in another sense, it's almost worse, because that shows that we have no love for ourselves and no love for each other. So that goes back again to the, step one. If you respect yourself, you respect others, you will just behave in a manner that shows that, and that would not include killing somebody. It would not include stealing from someone. So step 5, again, we would have thriving communities. If we were to do the first 4, and we became trusting and trustworthy as a part of opening our hearts, then, we could have thriving communities where the crime was lower, where we held each other accountable because we have a new standard of treatment towards one another, and we would, just be supportive of the existing black businesses. And if we were supportive enough of black businesses, the black businesses that do exist, if we ourselves would support them on a continual basis and make it a priority to support black-owned businesses first before we go outside to any other community for anything, be it our food, our hair, our shoes, our clothes, whatever, everything that we buy on a regular basis, if we could make a conscious effort to shop black first, it would be a huge incentive, or a huge, just increase of the volume of business that black people could do and have, and therefore they could hire more black people, because we all know we're the last hired, first fired on most corporate jobs. We're being replaced. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day about, where we're headed economically in this country as a black people if we don't learn to connect, to unite and come together and support each other as black people, because we're all we got. That's one of my favorite hashtags, WAWG, we all we got. So the more we realize that, and realize that we need to learn how to love each other, we need to learn how to work together, we need to learn how to trust each other, we need to learn how to come together and support each other so that we can continue to make it in this country. If we don't, we're going to lose, period. And we're already losing, but it's going to get way, way, way worse. And I know that West Coast Wolf talks about that, a lot as well, about where we're headed and how we're not going to make it in this country. And I'm in agreement with that. We really have to help ourselves. So we need to hold each other accountable, call each other to the carpet when we're doing wrong. We need to have soldiers on the front lines that are willing to, look gang members in the face. Now, it's interesting, and we know that it can be done, how gang members can call a truce, for a certain number of hours or a certain number of days to come to X meeting because, like when Nelson Mandela, was here and called it, and it's like, so it can happen where they can call a truce and decide they're not going to have violence at all. They're not going to lay down, that they're going to lay down their weapons or whatever, not have any shootings or whatever go on for 24 hours or however many hours. I don't understand why that has to be such a, first of all, why does somebody like Nelson Mandela have to call it, or somebody, quote, big that I guess everybody would respect? Why can't we do it ourselves? Why can't those same gang leaders call a truce and call it permanent, period? I mean, I really don't get that. I think that needs to be a movement or some type of action that people who have any type of inside, relationship or any type of extended, ways to reach people that are so-called leaders of these gangs, that they, start talking to them about that, like saying that we need to just stop killing each other, period. We need to care about our communities. We need to have our communities thrive. We need to be the business owners in these communities. So therefore, if we owned it, we wouldn't be tearing them up, I believe. I think because we pretty much don't own, as a people, a lot of the ghetto, communities where there's a lot of gang and violent activity goes on, they're renting. And they feel like the stores they're looting, they don't own. They're owned by outsiders that don't live in the community. They just come and take advantage of the community. So they feel justified somewhat, I think, in burning them down or looting and vandalizing them when they're in their communities because, again, they don't own them. Well, what if we did? Right? What if we were the owners of these, which is what we need to be? If we were supporting the existing Black businesses, we could hire more people and we could create more entrepreneurs to have more Black businesses. We should be the ones. We're the number one consumer of fake hair. Why aren't we the number one producer of it, or at least the number one retailers? Why don't we have wig shops and hair shops or whatever selling this hair to our people? Whatever else we consume, we are, as we know, the biggest consumers in the country. Our buying power is $1.3 trillion, and we can't keep money in our community more than a couple of hours. That is really, really sad. So how do we do that? Again, I think it begins at home. Extend that to your community. Respect each other and be determined to work together, to trust each other, to love each other, and to create more entrepreneurs and become self-contained. And so that's my last step. So after step 5 was thriving communities. Step 6 is having thriving businesses and entrepreneurship and ownership. And then that would lead to step 7, which is self-supporting. When we become have more entrepreneurs and more businesses, we become self-contained and self-reliable and self-sufficient. I would love to see our money stay in our community for 30 days. I mean, if we could start with one day at a time, as they say, and build it to 2 days and, 3 days and on up. But that's what we need as a people, as a family, to rebuild our community, is to become self-sufficient. And we could do it. We've done it. We did it before, Black Wall Street. And I forget how many days the money stayed in our community back then. Of course, we didn't have a choice. We could only do business with Black people. And, I almost feel like I wish we could do that again where we didn't have a choice. But that's never going to happen. We're too integrated, and we're not going backwards in that way, unfortunately. But I'm one of the ones that the mindset that, sometimes feels like assimilation, and desegregation may have been the worst thing that happened to Black people in this country. But, again, that's another topic for another day, because we are here now, and it is what it is. And we need to work with what we have. But I believe we need to kind of get back to basics and start rebuilding the Black family, and it starts with us. So I will now leave it to, open up for questions and feedback. The questions I would like to ask the audience and have you guys answer is, number 1, so I have these 7 steps, and so the first question I have for you guys is, if you agree, first of all, And, you know, someone might think that these are, you know, they might come in different orders for someone, you know, from other people, whatever. Of course, like I said in the beginning, this is my opinion, how I think we could build a black family again. But I would like to hear other people's opinions about it, as well as, so question number one is, do you agree? Two, do you agree, but you would like reorder them? If so, I'd be curious to know what you think we need to do first. And three is, what is your ideal family structure? I'm really curious about that. Oh, I did ask also if people could, I apologize, I forgot, the movie Fences. I wanted some feedback on that movie as well. I have mixed feelings about that movie, and I would love to kind of, you know, hear what your guys' opinion was about the movie, and then give you my feedback after you give me yours when it comes to Fences. So, West Coast Wolf, if we could now open it up, and you can let me know if there is anyone on the line that would like to speak or would like to answer my questions, and if they have any questions of their own, please let me know now. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to co-host this show. I appreciate it.
All right. So anybody got the questions? You guys heard the questions. Press number one on your phone, and we'll get you in the queue, and you can ask away. Press the number one on your phone, and we'll get you in and you ask your questions. We got quite a few people on here listening to you, so they still here, so it must have been all right.
Yeah.
Anybody open up the line? The lines are now open. All right, I got one. All right. Let's see. I got two. I got a couple. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's start with 6647. Welcome to the show with MC Unity and West Coast Wolf.
What's up, brother? And,
how you doing? All right.
I'm doing all right. I like this. I'm actually doing pretty good. Like excited about the things happening in a couple weeks, and yeah, like I'm just trying to start this year off good. So just moving forward. So like everybody, like I know a lot of people are. I mean, this is like a little different, whatever. But like I worry about Trump. I think this is the time. Like the beginning of the year. The first, whatever month, just start moving forward and start strategizing. You know what I mean? I mean, getting worried or crying about, Trump or whatever is not going to do anything. So I'm actually pretty excited. So, how about yourself, Wolf?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited. So, will you have any questions for my MC Unity here with the building blocks of the family? She's on the line. I'm gonna let her take over, and you guys can ask her for any feedback that you might have on the show tonight.
Okay.
MC.
All right, brother. Yeah, like I really don't have any questions. I pretty much agree with everything she said for the most part. I actually like her show. I mean, I like her on the show. Like, like I like the way she delivers, and like I like her message. Like I think it's like having a co-host, whatever. Definitely, like it was nice to hear somebody different. Like I've heard her call before, whatever. But like I can't really say too much different. Like she did a good job. So I just pretty much just called just to pretty much say that.
Okay.
Thank you. What's your name? I'm sorry. What's your name, sir?
Oh, like my name's Leon.
Okay, Leon. Thank you for calling and your feedback. Let me ask you a question real quick. Did you see the movie Fences or no?
Fences?
Yes.
Sorry.
Have you seen it with
Fences.
Denzel?
Fences. I have not seen that yet. No.
Okay.
Like, is it good? It's good?
Okay.
Yeah.
It is.
It's I'm a huge Denzel fan. Like, I'm a huge Denzel fan. So, but no, like, I've just been busy with, the last movie I've seen was the Nat Turner movie. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So like, I haven't seen a movie in a while, but thank you for reminding me. I just been having a bunch of family stuff, and I'm getting ready for school coming up in a couple of weeks, and I've just been like just handling a
Right.
bunch of different stuff. But I'll definitely have to check
Okay.
that out. So but like, you guys have
All
a
right.
good show, and I'll continue to listen. So
Thank you
Okay.
so much,
All
and
right,
Happy New
Leon.
Year to you, Leon. Appreciate the call.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, we got one more. We got another one on the line here. I got 8730. Open the line up. You're live with MC Unity. 8730. You're live. Go ahead. You're live. 8730.
I can't hear it.
No, he didn't go in yet. Last digit of your phone number is 8730. You got your hand up. We're giving you a chance. Maybe he walked away to the bathroom or something. Okay. All right, who we got here? Let's see what else we got here. Any more hands up? Press 1. We'll open the queue for you. Press 1. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Boy, you got them scared tonight. Miss Doing today, they're afraid to put their hand up now. Press 1 on your phone. I know somebody's out there want to say something. I'm looking at you guys. Come on here. Don't be scared. We can't hurt you from there. Put your hand up. Go ahead and do it. It won't cost you nothing, I promise. All right, let's see. Well, while they figure their mind out, I thought it was.
What about you?
I thought it was a good show, and I wanted to say a couple things you said on there that really hit me. I guess being from a divided household coming up, but I had both my parents for quite some time, but then they separated. So I've seen both sides of the fence, so to speak. And everything you're saying about appreciation is very true. My mom, she worked real hard. My dad, and I'm not sure if he said thank you sometime for certain things she did, but I think in the old school way, a lot of things were expected. But what I'm noticing, Miss Unity, what I'm noticing is that a lot of the families that are sticking together over the time, if you ask them what kept them together, a lot of it is appreciation. A lot of it appreciation because some people, they take a lot for granted. And I'm gonna tell you, like when I was married, my ex-wife, she took a lot for granted. She really did. Up until the end, it's just that you work so hard and people just don't appreciate because they say that's just what you're supposed to do. So a lot of times, you get taken for granted, and after so long, you start resenting people for taking you for granted so long, and then after a while, sometimes it's irreparable. If the damage is done, and on the job too, like you got these bosses who because they run the show, they can just tell you whatever they want to tell you, any kind of way they can tell you. So you got folks, yeah, it's your job, do your job, it's your job, whatever, but you got to be all nasty about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, most people leave bad bosses. They don't leave just because of the money. Because right now, most people's money is sucking right now. Let me tell you, if you ain't white, Asian, or Indian, most of the money you're getting is suck right now. You ain't getting paid what you're worth. I'm just gonna put it out there. So, in a lot of times, people looking at you like, yeah, you better do this job because we can get somebody to replace you, and they show that in your face. Unless you got a real specialized skill that they cannot replace you with, they will show you that. Look, Negro, get out of line. We got 15 people, 20 people waiting in line today for your job. So just get out of line. Some of them just test you because, that's the way it is.
Right.
Like you said, with the black man today, we're a dying breed here. A lot of men, I'm like, black men stand up. That's why I don't run with no scary ass black men. And it's a lot of them out there. I don't run with none of them because it's a waste of my time and energy, and I don't want none of that rubbing off on me. So they gotta stay home, because this ain't for everybody, But the thing is, okay, be about something, man. Have some type of backbone about something. It's sometimes you gotta stand up for something. You ain't gotta go out there in your job and show your ass, so to speak. But you have to do something in your community with your people and be real. Don't be looking at that job like, you know what, I'm gonna stab this dude in the back because the doc can keep me or whatever. So I let him go, but I'm gonna look, oh well, that's on him. Like you said, we're one big family, and people need to realize we are one big family. When they see Black people, they don't look at us in separate categories. They see one black man with his pants hanging down. They see one bastard with his pants hanging up. So you know what? Today maybe was an off day for him. Maybe when he goes home, maybe he sags his pants too. Maybe when he goes home, he goes in there and he's real trifle with his family. He's beating his wife or he's not taking care of his kids. They don't look at you like you different. Unless you befriended somebody white or something like that and they know your lifestyle, make no mistake. They look at you like everybody else. Today you just may be cleaned up today. Today you just may be cleaned up today. Let's be real. You cleaned up today. I've heard, people have told me like, oh, you know what? You're not like those other black people. What do you mean? What does that mean?
I've heard that so much.
What does that mean? I'm not like them. I don't have my pants hanging down. I don't have no gold teeth in my mouth. I take out when I want to get ready, and I don't have all these bad habits.
The one I hear a lot is you don't speak like other black people, or you speak so well, or you read so well. You're different.
Special, yeah.
It's like, really?
I'm like, yeah. You know what? I might speak differently unless you watch MTV raps or something. Right. If I'm not watching MTV raps, then I'll speak differently. Right. So all right. Let me somebody decide to get some courage here. Let me see. I got
Thank you.
I'm gonna try 2697. We got 31 minutes. 2697. Welcome to the call.
What's up, man? What you say about scary black men? That was just funny.
I tell the truth, man. I don't know no scary black men.
Look, hey, well, I appreciate that because that gives me a feeling of credit because you hang out with me, so that's a good thing.
That's right.
I just wanted to say I didn't really have any questions. I just appreciate the way she put the show in a female's perspective, and you got so many good ideas. I mean, there's so many things that I just hadn't really thought about, especially the part about black love. I just never really thought about how we're just taught to hate each other. And I hate to say it because, I used to be a DJ. It's through raps. Through a lot of these raps, it's black against black. It's light skin against dark skin. It's young against old, male against female, and we just got to get a brand new way of thinking, a brand new way of thinking. And I just had a couple comments. I was kind of busy doing something. There's no way I was gonna miss your show, Mike. There's no way I was gonna miss the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I was doing a couple things, but I want to make a couple quick comments on supporting black business, and that. I mean, I know, I know that we don't do this, right? And I know that our money comes in, and goes right back out. Goes right back out to other races. And the end result, I had never thought about that. If we support black businesses, eventually it's going to create jobs for our own people.
Exactly.
I never really thought about it like that. That's major right there, And my last comment was on the first two items that you were talking about respect and about communication and those things. I think those two are major. Having respect for each other. I mean, getting an understanding. It's the key. It's the key to our whole race being able to move forward together. And being able to communicate. They're two different words, but they're almost similar in their meaning because we need both of those: respect and to be able to communicate with each other, and that's just something we just don't do.
Right. Well, thank you very much, CJ. Did you watch the movie Fences?
I haven't seen it. I'm going to make it my mission. I'm going to see that within the next 2 days, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
well, thank you
C.
for calling. I appreciate your feedback.
Okay, for sure.
All right. We're going to try this again. Let's see if my brother's, got a hold of it. Maybe he's cooking or something. I don't know. Let me get 8730 again. Let me try this one more time for this brother. 8730.
Man,
where you at, my
man? I had it on mute, man. I'm sorry.
I thought it was my microphone. I don't know. Go ahead, brother.
How's everybody?
Good.
Okay. Happy New Year, too.
Same to you.
Yeah, I concur with CJ. It was nicely put together. Again, as you talked about love and respect, as you stated before, it starts with yourself, and those are the foundations for a community, because then it resonates throughout the neighborhood. And something as simple as when I was coming up, and I think Wolf was kind of touching on it, or about to, we used to speak to each other in the morning. Good morning. How you doing? That's just basic common courtesy. People don't do that any longer. When you talk about the music tells you where we are as a culture.
Right.
Back in the 60s, we didn't talk about those things. We had James Brown, Black and Out Proud, Marvin Gaye, Inner City Blues. I mean, if you sit back, Stop the War, we were very, very conscientious. You had Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come. We didn't really speak like that. The unfortunate part about this, it was our generation that made the change, because our kids don't even respect elders, and we were that last generation. So everything that you talked about is the foundation for a better community, and then from there, supporting black business. When you talk about respecting each other, the self-hate is there and present. So the consciousness in terms of changing the self-hate is something that has to resonate and come to light, because there's times, and I say this because I have personal experience when I deal with guests, when I deal with other races, or if there's complaints, they don't degrade in the manner that we do toward each other, and that's in public. Those are the type of things that we need to change. At the end of the day, we're all a child of God, and at the end of the day, we're all human. So everything could be fixed. So we don't need to use the excuse why we don't support black business. At this point in time in our life, in this century, you don't have a choice. You do not have a choice, because if you don't, as CJ mentioned, our kids are not going to have jobs in the next 50 years. And we're sitting here talking about it now. So I just wanted to say those are the basic foundations to build a better community. And once you have a better community, you see it'll take off and it'll resonate throughout our nation. And then as far as the movie Fences, I did like the movie. And the reason why I like the movie is because the one thing I like about African-American movies like that, it's real talk. If you saw the play, A Raisin in the Sun, well, there was a play, and then later on it was a movie, just like Fences, and Sidney Poitier was in the movie. And when things unfortunately happen to us, it's really real. So many of us can relate to that. I look at it personally, and that's one thing I like about you, Wolf. You always talk about personal things that happen with you. Well, the thing with my family, my father used to bet the horses, like 9,000. I could tell you every horse racetrack, man. I can tell you all the tickets. I can go to all the racetracks, okay? That was his thing. Is there something to be proud about? No. But that money could have been very well spent saving for stocks, 401k, retirement. Instead, he had it on a dream that if he could hit the exacta at the racetrack, it would change everything. But he chased that dream for years. And as a result, it kept us in a certain place. But anyway, the whole point is it was a very good program, nicely put together.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
So you liked the movie Fences. Okay. And you said because it was real talk and it showed some real things in the family. Okay.
We have
West Coast
another.
Wolf, did you see that movie?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Okay. Well,
and I'll feedback on that one after this next. I have somebody else want to speak. I'm gonna get this is last 4 digits of your phone number.
Call, Sydney.
Okay, Sydney. And I got one more here. I think I know who this is. Last 4 digits is 5021. The Lone Ranger. 5021. You live.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey. Talk to us. What you know good, Mr. Man? What you know good?
How you guys doing? This is Marcus.
Yes,
Hi, Marcus.
Hello there. I'm a good friend of Wolf's.
Okay.
or West Coast, Wolf.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, thanks for calling.
I like everything you were saying earlier. And believe me, I kind of preach that to all my brothers and sisters myself.
Oh, good.
I kind of been in this conscious game, as I've been telling Wolf, a long time, even before, I'm talking in 80s. Just before I met him, and I've been knowing him for a long time. Now, I can't add to nothing that you said because you've said it all. But I can tell you this: you mentioned something about how we can get our own establishment as far as jobs. I can tell you how we can do that.
Okay.
And one way we can do it is if we get the whole group that Wolf got. I'm not sure how many people are involved in your group, Wolf. Can you tell me?
Well, it depends on the online audience in here. We got about 1,000 subscribers, but in the core group, we're looking at about 50 something. But we sorting through that, so we have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, I know of a group of mine that we got 21 people in this group, and it's an odd number because when we take a vote, we have to have that majority overruled. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, saying that to say this, I'm putting in $100. Everybody else in that group is putting in $100. And this is on a weekly basis because we get paid weekly. Now, when that money builds up, it keeps building. It keeps building. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Once it gets to that point of 50,000, and then keep climbing and keep climbing. Now you got 75,000 in that bank. That's when you get a loan. That's when you can get a loan there. See your consistency. Now, mind you, this is with a credit union. All right. Now you thinking about what you want to do. You got a bunch of avenues to choose from. These bunch of fellas is picking shipping and receiving, like out there in the longshoreman docks. Imagine one container, how much that would pay 21 people. Just that one alone. And then you got these thousands of boxes that's getting shipped over to Europe, to Japan, to wherever in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can incorporate, use some, try to get you some help. And where do you go? Who needs the work? Your black people.
So let me understand.
You have to have something to call our own when we're not getting it elsewhere as far as these other races.
Okay, so can I just try to understand by asking you a question? You're saying you have 21 people in your group that put in $100 a week and into a credit union, and once you obtain from $50,000 to $75,000, then you're going to get a loan to purchase.
Before that. No, it's not purchasing no homes. None of that.
She said loan. She said loan. A loan from the bank.
You're going to get a loan.
No. Oh, a loan. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. Okay.
So
the thing is that we've just started this, so we're not really sure, or I'm not really sure what we're going to invest in right now. That was brought at the table. It was brought to the table, which is a good idea. Everybody agreed on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So
to just put money in and then decide what you're going to get later.
It got to start. It got to start like that, because money. If you put money in, it makes money, and it can create avenues for you to help your people.
Right. So can I ask you? You said you're putting it into a credit union. Is this a black-owned credit union?
In a credit union, it's not even a. It's we have a white guy in our group. I mean, he's married to a black woman.
So is it a black-owned credit union or no? Is that? Did you?
I guess you could say it is. Now, I haven't seen everybody who's a part of the group.
No, the credit union. I'm asking where you're depositing money. Is that into a black?
No. This is a longshoreman union.
Credit union. Oh, okay. So you're all a part of that credit union. Oh, okay, I get it.
And we're part of that credit union, and that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Does the white man at least have a tan?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we could put our heads together and do the same thing. What does that matter if it's what credit union it is?
Well, because that's just another. I'm just believing, like I said, buying black first, shopping black first. So anything that we're going to invest our money into, if it could be black owned, that's just where I'm.
Okay, well, no, that's fine. But do you know of any black credit unions?
I do, actually.
Well, I don't
know if there's longshoremen, but I definitely do.
Okay, well, then that settles the problem right there, which would be great.
Yeah, I'll actually post a list in the group.
Yeah, post a list.
Of black-owned banks and credit unions.
If we're coming with these ideas, it's got to start somewhere. It can start with us.
That's right.
And we can make this happen.
That's awesome.
No, I agree. No, I agree with you, Marcus, because we got to have the funds available to where you might want to get involved in something. It's a good idea to have the funds built, and that's a good idea.
If everybody's participating, we got to build this, and it got to be an every week sort of situation to where that credit union that we choose will see the progress, and we'll get anything we ask for.
I just want to know one question. I got one question for you, Marcus. Does a white guy at least have a tan? Does he have a deep tan? I'm just curious.
He's married to a black woman.
I'm just messing. I had to do that.
Well,
you have a tan, at least a tan. Well, okay.
Do we have all black people on our in our group?
Yes, sir.
We have nothing but.
That's it.
Okay. In some situations in this country, you might need a face of the right complexion.
Oh, definitely.
I understand, my brother. I get it. Hey, listen, I understand. I know what you're saying. I know what you mean.
Okay. Do I need to
one
speak more on that?
No, we get it. We know. You're right.
I don't think I should.
But if they screw us, somebody gonna get hurt. Somebody gonna get cut, Jack. They better leave the country.
As long as we got our business suits on and we're going about everything proper, like everything's supposed to be going, we shouldn't have a problem.
Okay. We're going to talk more about that, my brother. We'll talk more about that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thanks for your call,
my
brother.
Thank you for your call, Marcus.
Okay,
yeah,
Marcus.
not a problem.
All right.
Oh, quick question. Did you see the movie Fences? Is it too late?
I can bring it back.
You just see it? I just wish probably somebody. I mean, I've seen it on. Matter of fact, I'll go watch that movie tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll see if my TV can get it tonight because I got. Is it in movies now?
It's in movies right now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go see that movie when I get home because my boss can pull it.
Post your comment to the group. We'll put a section on the Fences movie. Post your comment to the group and you see what everybody thinks about it.
You still got to teach me all about that now. If I make a mistake,
that's gonna be the next.
Then I'm
yeah, I'm working at technology. The next one with the technology, man.
In that
oh my God. Technology challenge people. I swear to God. Okay.
I'm trying to learn.
Yeah. So this is long.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Marcus.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right.
Thank you again. Thanks for calling. Good night.
Okay, we got you, Marcus.
Okay,
yeah.
So you want to give me your feedback? Is there any other?
Okay. The movie was it was very touching to me. Very touching to me, and it was real. And I don't know. See, here's the issue I have with it. Well, people are not going to understand. I think a lot of folks maybe not going to understand, black included, the younger generation may not understand that because a lot of them didn't come up with fathers and mothers. See, I'm Generation X. I understand the movie totally. I swear, I look at that man, some aspects of what he was saying, he sounded like my dad. I swear to God. I said, if this ain't my dad on the screen, man, things he said, the superstition talking about you fighting with death and all that stuff, listen, I think everybody needs to go see that movie and really take an assessment on how things went. And I'm going to just tell you right now, it was very real. It was sad. It was inspired all in one. And I feel like the way his wife was with him, man, it was very emotional for me because I saw my mom in that woman's role. And I don't see that today in the newer generation. I don't feel like those type of women are here no more. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom's generation, it's like, and I know what you might say, MC, I know what you might say because I know you say this woman took a lot of stuff from this dude and you know, she stuck with it. I know you're thinking that. A lot of women probably seen that and thought that. But here's the only problem I have with that. A lot of women don't have them qualities that woman had no more. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, some women out there like them qualities, but I mean, how many women you know would sit there and take the stuff she took? I don't see them.
Right.
I just don't see that no more. In the old school way, and the way I look at it too, the civil rights movement happened. We had the women's liberation movement, the feminist movement. I think all that could have been avoided had we had our own communities. And I noticed that in his role, I noticed that he was torn apart by what was happening with the job. My father was the same way, but and they had that fifth of whatever he's drinking or whatever. Man, I said, wow. Denzel, to me, he outdid himself. And white folks in the audience, some of them was crying and here and there, but they don't really understand that kind of. They don't really understand that. They don't really. They look at it
not the reality.
They look at it for the emotional side. What they saw was the wife getting feel like she was getting a short end of the stick. They didn't really understand why that man was like that. You follow me? So it's like I'm watching it from a view that I understand. My people with two-parent households understand. The young generation don't really understand this. But the ones that, and the white people totally don't understand it. They look at it for the emotional content. I just know they don't understand that. But that movie was heavy. It was heavy in so many ways. And what do you want to say about that?
Okay, so I
got
have
9 minutes.
Okay, so I have a couple of different takes on it from a couple of viewpoints. Number one, I came from a broken or mixed two-parent household, meaning I was raised. So my mother had me young, and so we still lived with my grandparents who were still together when I was a child, right? And then when I was like 3, my mother got her own place, and by that time she was like 21. And then we lived away, you know, on our own for maybe 5 years or so, and then she decided to go back to school so she can get a better job and, you know, on and on. And so we went back to my grandparents' house. So from about 8 to like 10, then I was back at, you know, with my grandparents. We were. And then my mother met my stepfather, and they got married when I was 12. And so from 12 on, I was raised with my stepdad, who I call my dad because he was the only dad I know. And we're really, really close to this day. So, but that said, my grandmother and grandfather were more like the family in the movie, right? And my grandmother didn't work. She was a stay-home mom. She had 3 hot meals ready every day because when I was going to school, I used to be able to come home from school, and I had meal on the table ready for lunch, as well as, you know, hot breakfast in the morning. Me and my grandfather, we all ate together. And then when he got home from work at 4:30, dinner was on the table, and we all ate dinner together. And that was every day, day in, day out. Well, he ended up having just like Denzel, having a child out of wedlock, right? And my grandmother and that mother ended up dying of cancer when the child was like 3 years old. So I have an uncle that my grandmother took in and raised as her own, just like the movie. And she raised that boy until he was 18 years old, and he calls her mom to this day. And then he went into the service. Now the twist what was different about that was she stayed and she raised, but when he got 18 and he left to go to the military, she left my grandfather. And then she went and got her a younger man and stayed with him for like 10 years, and then he died. And he was like 15 years younger than her, but he ended up getting cancer and dying. And then she went back to my grandfather, and then but then they, right, it's crazy. But then they lived like in separate bedrooms as just like roommates and friends until they both passed, in which it was just 2 years ago that she passed, and he preceded her in death like about 18 months. So that was a weird dynamic. But I saw literally my family in that movie, right? So I know that it was reality, you know, that it really could happen like that, because a lot of people were like, nobody would do that. Nobody could take a child, you know, by some other woman that, you know, where the husband cheated on them and then raised that child. No, it can, because it literally happened in my family. The
you know what?
take on that.
I'm just saying. I'm thinking.
What?
You know what? We should probably make a whole show about that movie. You know why? You know why? Because I'm looking at the movie, vision and just hindsight. I could divide the movie up in so many different parts. We can take the woman's side of the point of view of what happened with just the woman. We take Denzel's side of what happened to him. We take the child's side of what happened to him.
Right.
And I can pretty much explain why each one got derailed. And I can totally see why. Now, here's a scary question for you. If that movie was based in the 60s, right? Probably 60s and 70s, really, to be honest. But if we made a movie based on what's going on today, how would that family look to you? How would that family look now? It wouldn't be no man in the house. It'd be a baby daddy coming over. It'd be somebody coming over. They fighting, arguing, and they go home separate ways. It would just be chaos.
Or you would have two of the same sex in the household trying to be mama and daddy. So we ain't even doing it. But
oh my God!
Right. So
oh my God!
Let me just give you my other point of view though about the movie.
Okay.
And this is more of the from the systemic, you know, side of us in movies, black movies. I still have a problem with mainstream media when it comes to portrayal of black people. It seems like the only thing they allow, quote unquote, to be. Now I know Denzel produced this movie, and there are some black producers out there producing movies themselves, like Tyler Perry.
Was white. Right.
Huh? Yeah,
executive producer was white though.
Right. But and usually Jewish. But anyway, another story.
Exactly.
So, but it's either the movies that they're allowing that, you know, or quote unquote Academy or Oscar, whatever the term is for the, you know, best movie, worthy, are still movies that make us look bad. You know, either we're slaves, and those are the quote unquote best movies, or if we are free and we're supposed to be, you know, and they allow us to show a real family structure, it's that kind of family where you have this dysfunction and you have the man beating his wife or cheating on her and drinking and or having bastard children, extramarital affairs. Like, why is that? Why can't we not have Huxtable type movies? You know, in the theater.
You know why? Because I hate to say it, a lot of black folks wouldn't watch them. They want to see something like a Scandal or whatever. It's just the drama sells, and they had to say it. We got to have our own movie theater with our own people.
No, remember the shows like the Jetson. What was that movie called? George Jefferson Moving On Up, and the Huxtables. Yeah. Those were very, very popular and watched by black people a lot. They did sell. Yes. They would sell.
Yes,
it's not.
Remember,
it's just they don't want to show anything positive about black people in mainstream
that
media.
May be true,
that's my take on it.
But listen, that may be true. But always remember what time frame that was. These new kids didn't grow up with George Jefferson. They grew up with Scandal. They grew up with Housewives of Hollywood. They grew up with the Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of L.A.
But that's what I'm saying. Why?
Real,
so that's
this is what it is.
So the protesting that we should be doing is against those kind of shows. Stop buying the music. stop
Yes.
watching the TV shows. I don't have cable TV for that reason. I don't think they show almost. And you know, I must love you because I'm missing the Warriors game. About the only thing I watch on TV will be
on tonight.
a game. Will be a game, and not like I don't watch any of those shows whatsoever. Like I said, I don't even have cable because I think it's all demoralizing. It's destructive to the black family and to the family structure in general. And it's just horrible. The stuff that's on TV is crap, and most of the mainstream media, radio as well, is really, really bad and demoralizing. And I think if we want to protest about something and complain about something, loot about something or whatever, it should be that.
I agree with you. That's why I haven't had cable for 4 years. I ain't had cable for 4 years.
Sound like me.
I pick my content when I want to see. I just found out the other day I can download. I can stream live NBA games and stuff like that now. So I really don't need cable for nothing.
Right.
I watch just what I want to watch. That's it. So you got any last words, MC Unity? You got 2 minutes left. Let's close the show out.
No, I just want to say again, thank you. Thanks to everybody for listening, and thank you for allowing me to host on this first show of the new year. And I wish everybody would have a prosperous and healthy and a conscientious new year in 2017. Let's make this year much better than it's been in many years before, and remember our building blocks to rebuilding the black family. If you're already doing it within your family, spread it. Spread the message. You know, give your notes or whatever. Have dialogue among your, people who weren't listening on the show, or maybe have them tune in and listen to the YouTube video and have dialogue about, what can we do individually in our own families and our own neighborhoods to help just come together in unity and become self-supporting and self-sufficient as a black people, because, again, we all we got. Thanks again,
That's
West
right.
Coast Wolf.
Got
love for you, family.
And with that, I want you guys, those who are on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, @Bay Area Black. Those who are on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, our Facebook page. The fan page is The Bay Area Black Community. And we follow us on YouTube, where this upload will be posted. You can make your comments there on YouTube at The Bay Area Black Community YouTube channel. You guys have a good night. Happy New Year. And get ready for Trump. He'll be in office January 20th. Be ready for that, because I have been preparing for years. Good night. West Coast Wolf,
Good.
out.
And MC Unity, out. Good night.